Okay, this is lesson 3, solving equations. We're going to run through this pretty quickly because hopefully you know this, but your basic steps to follow are distribute, then combine like terms is what I would say. Move variables to one side, pick a side to move your x or y or whatever variable, and then solve using inverse operations. Okay, and you know that you are done when your variable is by itself and it equals a number or some other expression. Okay, so let's do the first few here. Number 1, step 1 is to distribute. So I'm going to distribute that 6. That would be 6n plus 30 equals 2. Okay, step 2 here, we don't really have any terms we need to combine. So we're good, and then we're just going to move variables to one side. So you want to keep the n on that side. Get rid of the plus 30. So let's subtract that. Okay, so 6n equals negative 28, and divide by 6. Now we're doing our last step to solve. N equals, okay, and then negative 28 over 6. Those are both even. Let's divide by 2. And that will give me negative 14 over 3. Okay, that's your final answer there. And don't forget, you could plug that in for n, where you see n, and it should equal 2 if you want to check your answer. Okay, so let's go to number 2. You see a fraction here. The first thing I'm going to do is get rid of that negative 4 on the denominator by multiplying by negative 4. So I'm actually not distributing first, even though that's the first step listed, okay? But let's cancel that and it'll make it a lot easier. So we get 3 times 5 minus 3x equals negative 15 times negative 4 is positive 60. Okay, and then from here you could distribute the 3. Okay, or if you can tell that's 3 times a group, so to get rid of the 3 times, you could divide both sides by 3. It will save you a couple of steps. Okay, so 5 minus 3x equals 20. And then I'm going to solve for x. So subtract 5. Want to keep x where it is and then divide at the end. Okay, so negative 3x equals 15. Divide by negative 3. X equals negative 5. Okay, and again, you could plug that in for x and you should get negative 15. Okay, so number 2, I didn't really follow those steps exactly. The steps will work every time, but if you can kind of think outside the box and figure out your own way, as long as you're getting the right answer, you can do that too. So let's look at number 3 and talk about that distribution one more time. So we're actually not going to distribute first here, or distribute at all, okay? So think about PEMDAS. You want to keep your parentheses where it is and get rid of it last, okay? So we're going to add 5. You would definitely add before you divide when you're solving. It's kind of the opposite of using order of operations, right? You go backwards. Okay, and then so instead of distributing that 2, you can divide both sides by 2, and that way you don't have to distribute. It kind of takes a couple steps away. If you want to, you can. You should get the same answer as me. Okay, so 116 divided by 2 should be 58. Okay, then subtract 2. Negative 7y equals 56. Divide by negative 7. And y equals negative 8. Okay, so like I was saying here, to do inverse operations, if you're kind of iffy on solving equations, you really do PEMDAS backwards. So you want to follow this backwards. Okay, so you're always going to subtract or add first before you multiply or divide. Kind of like we did here. We added 5 before we divided by 2 because add comes before divide. So if you kind of forgot how to solve for equations or you're stuck, think about doing PEMDAS backwards. And notice we didn't get rid of that P, the parentheses, till the end. Okay? There's a lot of ways to think of solving equations, but over the years I've just come up with, you know, these little acronyms that help. So I would call this SAD-MAP. We're solving PEMDAS backwards. Okay? So let's keep that in mind for number 6. Okay? We have fractions here. Now this is not something where we could just move the 21 because we have W's and numbers on both sides. So we really are going to have to distribute first. Okay? So distribute -1/3. The left side doesn't change, so I'm just going to rewrite it. So -1/3 times 2W is -2/3 W. Negative times negative is positive. 1/3 of 9 is 3. Okay, and now we need to combine our W terms, okay? So I try to pick the variables to move to the side where they will stay positive by choosing the bigger value. 5/6 is bigger than -2/3, so I'm going to add 2/3 to both sides. Okay, so this is that step where we're moving the variable to one side. Okay, and so on the side 5/6 and 2/3, you can definitely use your calculator as long as you change it to a fraction. You don't want a decimal here. But 2/3 is really 4/6. 4/6. Okay, and so if we add those together, that will give me 9/6. Alright, so here we now have 9/6 W. Excuse me, that is not, wait, 5 plus 4, yeah, 9/6 W. Okay, plus 21, these cancel, equals 3. And then we're going to solve for W. So subtract 21. Sorry, my dog is snoring. Okay, and so 9/6 W equals -18. Okay, and now to solve this, you could multiply by the reciprocal, or I just do this one step at a time. So to get rid of divide by 6, I'm going to times both sides by 6. And that's 108, so I get 9W equals -108. And then I divide the 9. You can absolutely multiply by the reciprocal if you want. That just looks more confusing to me. So -12, that's our answer. Okay, looks like we've gone over quite a bit here, so I think that's enough for the first page, and I will do another video for the second.